Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well. Happy after Thanksgiving. I have been recovering from an awful little bout with COVID, but I am feeling much better, except for an occasional cough. I want to talk to you today about setting and achieving goals. And in my performance coaching, it always amazes me all the different components and dynamics and factors that affect a performance. And so often, as I coach competitive athletes and in particular competitive golfers, so much of the time is spent on the golf swing. In other words, the mechanics and the tactics of having an effective swing. And those things are really important. But the physical zone is not only the only main component of performance. There's the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. I call them 4 champion zones. And the longer I coach, the more I realize that even those 4 zones aren't enough to achieve a peak performance. Those zones have to be meshed in with the ability to set and achieve goals. Noted sports psychologist Dr. David Cook says there's 2 distinguishing features of a champion. One is superior focus, and the other is superior passion. So I'm always trying to open up somebody's mind to a new possibility, which produces passion, and then take dead aim on a target, which produces superior focus. And to find a process and a practice behind that process where you do those 2 things concurrently is when you take a leap in your performance. And I always say to people, the mind has to be directed to a target or it'll gravitate to the negative. So the first step in really developing what I would call a champion mind or a champion mindset is to open the mind and have it make observations apart from judgment. So you can simply look at a performance, look at yourself and say, and as a coach, I'm saying, what process does this person need to build into their practice and their game? So open up the mind without judgment. Observe the mind. Observe the performance. The second is really to find out, what desire do you have? And the more skillful you become, every time you increase a skill, the mind opens up to a new possibility. But desire is not enough. I have a lot of players come to me and, well, I desire to play well. I desire to win. But that kind of just stays in wish mode. So you have to move from desire. The next step is pursuit, which is directing the mind to a target. I'm not looking in the rear view mirror. I'm looking in the front view mirror. I would like to play college golf. Let me start playing competitively so I can work towards that accomplishment of a goal. So that's pursuit. But to be a champion, you have to move beyond the opening of the mind, the desire, the pursuit, to taking possession. You have to set your mind and saying, this is what I'm going to go after to possess and achieve. And then you figure out everything you have to do and the commitment that it takes to actually achieve that goal. So I had a player this week, and we've been talking about going into a certain tournament and winning it. But when it got down to my asking him, what would you be pleased with? He said, around in the mid-70s. And so his mind was accepting far less than his potential, and he was settling for what was good. If you do that, you will never win. Now take another case in point. I had a young boy, 12 years old, Brendan, years ago, and his mom called me up and said, my son has a major championship in 3 weeks, and he's unmotivated and unfocused. Can you help me? And I said, sure. So knowing that if I just did 2 things, If I opened up Brendan's mind to a new possibility, why could he win, and helped him take dead aim on a target at the same time, he would take a leap in his performance. Little did I know how much of a leap he would take. So in terms of goal setting, I created a very structured, strategic practice session where he had very specific goals in practice. So all of a sudden his mind became really directed and really focused on his process-oriented goals. And, he had to chip in so many times and things like that. But he had specific numbers to achieve. And at the same time, I had him write down all the possibilities why he deserved to win. So those two factors, opening up his mind to a new possibility, creating passion, directing his mind to a target, creating superior focus. In 2 weeks' time, Brendan goes out and shoots 66 as a 12-year-old. That was so awesome. He wins this big Canadian junior tournament. And so it's really important that when you are bringing up and you're developing a champion competitor, you help them to set and achieve goals, immediate, short-term, long-term goals. I recently had a student named Ian. Congratulations, Ian. This was a few months ago. Ian started playing golf 4 years ago. He's 14 years old. He's never shot par. So I said, let's create some numbers for you. Let's begin to help you set your mind on achieving a goal. And so we came across Tiger Woods' 5 rules of golf. The first rule is no double bogeys. Second rule, no 3-putts. Third rule, no bogeys on par 5s. Fourth rule, no bogeys within 150 yards. Fifth rule, no blown easy up and downs. So you could see how those rules created goals that told him where he didn't want to go. Okay? So each day, I had Ian focus on one of the rules. One rule for 5 days. And on the 6th day, I helped him put together what I call a peak performance day. A day where he was going to put all the rules together. And wouldn't you know, it was on that day, the peak performance day, that he shot par for the first time in his life and actually experienced a peak performance. Opened up his mind to a new possibility, took dead aim on a target. I had an executive one time, this was a few years ago, and he came to me shooting 90. I never worked on his swing, never worked on his game. I worked on his mind. And he was a high-level executive, like a real business geek. And he'd go to the golf course and his wife would say, what are you going to shoot today? And he'd go 85. He had no idea how he was going to get there. And it was just something that didn't create a result for him. So I said, you've been focusing on a results-oriented goal, but we need to focus on process-oriented goals. So I had him begin to keep his stats. And in golf, there's 4 main stats. How many fairways do you hit? How many greens do you hit? How many up and downs do you have? And how many putts do you have? So we moved the way his mind worked from a result-oriented goal to a process-oriented goal, because from there, we could create goals from where the numbers showed up in his performance. So the first goal that I had him to do was to break 45 for 9 holes. And when we looked at his numbers, it was like, oh, if I can get 1 less 3-putt, if I could get 1 more up and down, if I can get 1 more drive in the fairway, I can see how I can create the result that I want. So he went from 45 eventually to 40. And then the next goal, I had him shoot 2 9 holes at 40. And then the next thing you know, he shoots 39, 39 and breaks 80. In 2 months, he goes from 90 to shooting 80 because we opened up his mind to a new possibility and then took dead aim on a target. So it's really important to know your numbers and to set and achieve goals. And I just want to encourage you as this comes, towards the end of the year and going into the new year, that you take some time to get clear on what your goals are for next year, for your game, for your life, for your business. Because the ability to set and achieve a goal and to do it with both sides of your brain, the logical, reasonable, rational, number side, along with the envisioning side, the imagination side, the possibility side, those things together can get you out of stuck and into your champion zone. I've struggled a lot with my weight over the last many years, and I'd lose 15 pounds, 20 pounds, gain it back, whatever. But I found a system that is working for me that's intermittent fasting plus Dr. Kellyanne's bone broth. It's wonderful. And so I've lost 20 pounds in like the last 2.5 months. I can't believe I'm sharing all this with you. But see, I have my numbers now because there's a certain program she has, like a 5-day cleanse, that I know I can lose a good 5 pounds on that. Plus so many pounds just doing intermittent fasting. So I know how many pounds a month I can lose. And so all of a sudden now, I know my goal will be achievable in the next 5 or so months because I have a system. My mind is open to a new possibility, and I'm taking dead aim on a target because I have my numbers now. And earlier this summer, I was cleaning out my storage unit, like my whole history of my life, and I found all these pictures of me when I was thin. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not an overweight person that needs to lose weight. I am a thin person who has gained weight. And all of a sudden, my mind opened up to a new possibility to get back to who I truly am. So whether it's competitive golf, competitive athletics, whether it's your business, whether it's a personal goal or your relationships, remember the two distinguishing features of champions are passion and focus. So I'd encourage you to take some time before the end of the year to take that aim on a target, to open up your mind to a new possibility, and make 2023 a year of finding and being rewarded in your champion zone. I'll talk to you later.